Hi, I'm doing, I hope, just like all of you, decent, trying to, keep my head up. Housework, office work, altogether, I'm sure can be overwhelming, just like all of you.
Right.
Yeah.
How's the work from home situation going for you?
Well, I guess work from home situation needs a lot of discipline. So, what I personally feel is, at least when you go to the office, your life is pretty demarcated. You get up in the morning, you do your stuff, you go
Mm-hmm.
to the office, then you're in the office, you're sort of disconnected from home. And then, you do your work in office, you come home and you manage.
Right.
However, in this work from home situation, when you don't have help, you've got a kid, you've got a husband, you've got two dogs, so you have to be very disciplined. So I get up early in the morning, do my housework, ensure family's fed, taken care of, then get down to work again. Then you keep taking your breaks and you keep managing it.
Mm.
It's
Right.
hectic, but it's doable.
Yeah, I guess because earlier we had a physical barrier between the work and home balance, right? And
Correct.
now we don't.
Correct.
So
Now we do.
yeah, and it took me also quite some time to get used to it because we don't have house helps now. We
Yeah.
yeah, we have to do it all by ourselves.
God bless all of them.
Yeah,
Giving such good helps.
yeah, exactly. So I assume the work would be too much for you since everybody is at home and watching Alt Balaji, I guess.
So at work front, I guess Touchwood, we're doing good. We've like Nachi also spoke in his last interview.
Mhm.
We've seen a 60% surge in the amount of subscriptions. We've seen our watch time going up. We've seen the number of downloads going up. So
Mhm.
it's been a pretty good story, though this is not how we would have wanted it at all. I mean, in a normal situation, it would have been far more heartening to hear about this story. But all I can say is that on the work front, things are as usual. There are shows
Mhm.
that they're launching. There's work going on.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, it's just about the same. Nothing has truly changed for us.
That's really great to know that nothing has changed, but still the growth is going on. And in these times, having a steady growth is something I think the every business out there who's struggling to make ends meet is looking for, right?
So I wouldn't really gloat upon this. I would
Mm-hmm.
just say that in an unfortunate situation, it's fortunate that we as a business are holding it together, and so are the other, digital apps, whether it be
Right.
probably a payment app or an e-commerce app, which is now allowed to deliver essential goods,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or for that matter, education, medical apps, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's going to emerge out of this time is that India will go more digital. I think
Mm-hmm.
globally we've been fairly large on going digital, but I think what will emerge out of this time is India becoming more digitally savvy. That's
Right.
one good thing I can see coming out of this unfortunate phase.
Right. Since Divya, you mentioned that nothing major change has sort of taken place in your life since the COVID 19 impact has hit us, right? And also the growth is, as you suggested, a 60% increase is really great. And I must say it's awesome to have that kind of growth.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to understand from you, Divya, any other impacts which you might have seen since past few weeks? Anything which you would like to highlight on the business front?
Uh, so, on the business front,
Mm-hmm.
many things will sort of shift. I wouldn't call them changes, I would call them shifts. So, for
Right.
example, the way that you market or the way that you are choosing to walk over to your consumer, right? That's going to change. So, it's no longer going to be ambivalent, OH, print, radio. Those things have all gone for a toss, and we are looking at emails, SMSs, apps, tie ups, digitals, television, you know
Mm-hmm.
uh, those are the ways that we are going right now, because that's where the consumer is actually available,
Right.
and the beauty is, whether it's a youth, whether it's your male audience, female audience,
Mm-hmm.
those are all available now within a certain fulcrum or within certain approachable routes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're dissecting your content needs and you're talking to them. So that's one shift which has happened. The other shift which has happened is that as India grows more digitally savvy, newer and newer people are coming onto digital. And these people are the ones that we are introducing to our existing 60 plus originals library, right?
Wow.
So there is a library scale up that we are doing currently to introduce all these people to the shows that we have launched, because for them, this is all new.
Right.
So that's another shift which has happened. Then the other shift which has happened is, of course, there is a huge uptake on the number of subscriptions for the simple reason that people are consuming OTT as a category more. So what we
Right.
are saying, honestly, uh, I'm sure is happening for all the OTT platforms across.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, More so, a little more for us, maybe for the simple reason that we create content for mass India.
Right.
And we've always said that we stand for creating content for mass India. We don't believe in niche content because,
Mm-hmm.
India is a mass market.
Right.
So those are the shifts. Of course, there is a flip side to it as well, which is basically the stress on your server, the stress on the telecom, the stress on the bandwidth, the constant work that the backend team does to ensure that the app and the entertainment goes uninterrupted. So those are also the kind of shifts that we are working with. Last
Right.
shift is, of course, the fact that we were lucky enough to have certain, shows in the bank that had been shot, and we were planning to launch them. And now we're launching them phase wise. I mean, within the COVID phase, we've launched 3 shows, and we are
Mm-hmm.
prepping for another show very soon. And there are going to be a few more shows very soon. So we've been lucky that, those content banks were available with us as we
Right.
shot, as per the planning. And
Right.
now we are going to launch them during this phase. So more or less, the shift has been on the positive side, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
for us from a business point of view, only at Alt Balaji.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but like I said, our shifts are going to be almost similar to the
Mm-hmm.
shifts across the industry. I think
Right.
the other shift, which is also going to be seen across industry, is the fact that people are going to consume digital content more. As
Right.
the choices on probably the other mediums go down,
Mm-hmm.
this is what starts getting explored more, because till now there have been a lot of fence sitters, should
Right.
or should not, and people kept saying digital is more, metro,
Mm-hmm.
OTT is more of a metro or big cities phenomena. But I think the beauty of it is that now it will go across tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 far more rapidly,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's what's happening. So
Right.
those are the kind of shifts that the business and the industry per se will see.
Right. True. 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 And I must. I would like to let you know that I am the one who falls into your TG. The first time when I discovered Alt Balaji's original content was in Ola. You guys used to, I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we had a
distribute it.
tie-up with Ola. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So the first content was, I guess, Dev Double D, and then I would highlight my adoption of Alt Balaji, how it happened. So after Double D, I stumbled upon Kehne Ko Hum Safar Hai. I watched one episode and then I again bought the subscription. Then there was another show of Karan Kundra. I canceled my subscription. Then I again bought
Dil Hi
another
To Hai?
subscription.
Was it Dil Hi To Hai?
Yeah. It was Dil Hi To Hai. Right.
Okay.
So yeah, so after Kaneko Humsafare ended, and I cancelled my subscription because I didn't want to continue. I was like, nah, I'm wasting too much of my time on OTT platforms. I should focus more on work. Right, that was my
Okay.
understanding. Then Dilli To Hai came in, and I again watched the first episode, and I jumped onto buying the subscription and getting more episodes out of Alt Balaji. Right. So earlier, when we used to be busy with the work and all, and we used to get less time to watch the shows, especially for the audience who are in the work sector, right? So
Hmm.
are you seeing any shift in subscription taking, or people who are in the
You
work
mean from
sector?
the professionals?
Yeah, from the professionals.
Of course we are. See, it's a universal phenomenon. And while I can't
Hmm.
disclose numbers with you because we are a SVOD platform and those numbers
Right.
are confidential, I
Hmm.
can say there's almost been a 30% incremental in the workforce. When I say workforce, typically you would assume that they are in the workforce basis, their age group and
Right.
segmentation.
Hmm.
we've seen almost a 30% plus uptake over there. That is also because of the fact, I mean, which is a universal fact across the globe right now, that those professionals are at home and have more time at disposal. For example,
Mm-hmm.
myself, I am seeing more content than what I would normally do at
Right,
times, which I could not even earlier imagine watching a content, because probably one would be very busy in the office, etc.
right.
So of course, more professionals coming on board, but more than just professionals coming on board, we are more excited about a newer set of audiences across mass India coming,
Right,
because that is when truly OTT becomes mass. So
right.
professionals, great. We really love having them, because there is a certain elite set of category of shows they want to watch, and they are available with us. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy that they are signing up with us, because then they know about a test case, they know about a BOS, they know about a TGIDF, they know about a Kehne Ko Hum Safar Hai, which are more mature shows, right? Or a
Right,
code.
right.
But then there are massy shows that we have, which
Mm-hmm.
are perfect for mass India. So
Right.
we're very, very excited about digital going mass, digital going tier 3, tier 4, and those audiences wanting to be a part of Alt
Mm-hmm.
Balaji.
Right, right, right. Awesome. Like 30% increase is something really phenomenal, Divya, I must say. So, any new kind of audiences from tier 2 or tier 3 sectors? Like in the podcast, also last time you mentioned that you guys are also focusing on the neglected part of the Bharat of India, right? So, any new insights from there?
So the new insights from there is, typically if you look at Bharat, like I've been saying, typically it's the male of the household
Mm-hmm.
who owns the purse strings, right?
Right,
The
right.
woman is given monthly money to spend,
Mm-hmm.
and she budgets and she saves,
Mm-hmm.
and she keeps some money for herself.
Right.
Uh, but at no point of time does it mean that she will have, money to spend at her disposal, in the sense that she can buy something without asking her
Mm-hmm.
husband, or she may not even have a credit card or a debit card in her name, or she may
Mm-hmm.
not know how to digitally pay for it. So a lot of time when
Mm-hmm.
we saw these people utilizing, so our data also used to get in fix at times. We would see, for example, a Dil Hi To Hai,
Mm-hmm.
from small town, a lot of males seeing it, and we used to be shocked. We used to say, Dil Hi To Hai, men, a little surprising, because it's an out and out woman romance GC
Right.
show. And then we later realized that while the name of the card, or the name of the SIM card, or the name of the payment mode was
Mm-hmm.
in the name of a male, it was actually the wife who
Right.
was consuming it. But what we have seen is a shift. So more women from smaller towns are now consuming it, possibly because they're starved for choices on television now,
Mm-hmm.
and they're seeing more value in spending time. It's not only
Mm-hmm.
about money, it's also about where do I want to spend my time, right?
Right.
Time becomes a commodity,
Mm-hmm.
more so in metros, but even in smaller towns now, women are taking empowered decisions and saying, no, I would rather spend my time watching this show here
Mm-hmm.
rather than do it over here. So that's a perceptible shift that we've seen during this phase.
Right. Awesome. Amazing. Like even the tier 2, tier 3 cities are coming up and signing up onto Alt Balaji's platform. Plus, Netflix and Amazon are a bit costly and not for the masses, I would say, because people in metros they would understand the Hollywoody content, but there are very few players in the industry who are actually making Indian shows, right? Like Alt Balaji is one of them. Moving on, Divya. Since all of this started, the coronavirus crisis a few weeks back, right? And people, the consumers are expecting more empathy from the brands in communication, in engagement, and giving them a little bit of space. So, how has your communication strategy evolved from the time this crisis started?
See, we at Alt have been very, very, how do I say, cognizant of the situation, the unfortunate phase. We've not, if you look at the way that we've been handling our communication,
Mm-hmm.
we have purposefully stayed away from tom-tomming a lot or saying things, because we honestly, We think it's an unfortunate situation, and this uptake in the subscribers, etc., while it's great for us, it's not something that we really want to celebrate.
Right.
Even our third anniversary, if you look at it, which was on 16th April, we kept it very quiet. We didn't celebrate. All we said was all turns 3. Thank you so much for your love. Beyond that, we didn't really want to celebrate. We wanted to be quiet. And that was a part of a well thought, cognizant thought saying that these unfortunate times right now don't call for celebration. So let's keep it quiet. Whereas last year we were quite vocal about our celebrations. At ALT, we have also started this campaign, which is Feed the Underprivileged, which is basically when people buy a certain subscription, and we've started that charity by donating a base amount. So we donated a base amount to it.
Right.
Then we asked help from our viewers furthermore, saying please buy a subscription and we'll donate a certain amount out of that as well. Ekta, for her own part, as a promoter of the entire group, is also out there. She forsook her entire year's salary. She refused to take her salary because she wanted to put it down for the workers. Then she has been running many campaigns across film industry, television industry, asking all the stars to donate and giving that money to the grassroots people who really desperately either needed food or wanted to go home. So so from our side, we've been very cognizant of these actions. In terms of our communication, see, while we've been very, very empathetic and very quiet in our brand as a communication, show marketing has to do what it has to do, right? So if I'm launching a show, I have to be vocal about it, because otherwise I'm not being true to my customers. Then there's no point of launching a show. Customers won't even come to know about it, won't even understand, and if they have subscribed for it, they might feel in fact cheated, saying, listen, I subscribed and you didn't even tell me there's a new show launch. So as a brand, while we are very, very careful of what we are speaking, what we are putting out at this point of time, the show marketing piece has to do what it has to do, which is basically ensuring show discovery for people who have subscribed to us, so that they get a chance to see the show, and for the people who might want to see the show, right? So that's show discovery that we anyway need to do.
Right. True. I must say, like, you have to be quiet also, and you have to actually manage the balance between being quiet and being vocal about your brand, right? So any suggestions for the brands out there who are in the same space, ALT Balaji space, OTT space? How should they communicate to the consumers right now?
Honestly, I don't think I'm an expert to suggest or tell. I'm sure their CMOs are, smarter than me, or as smart as me. I wouldn't know. But I just have one thing to say: is basically at this point of time, as a brand, you need to be empathetic. You need to be not so boastful about your brand achievements, because honestly, I don't think these are the times for celebration. For sure, like I said, what you need to do, that you need to do. But transparency and empathy in these times will take you a long way with your consumer base, or for the consumers who are sitting on the fence. That's my advice to my team. Do not appear pretentious. Do not do something during these times that you 100% do not believe in. So if you're sitting on the fence about something and you think it can be offensive, please avoid. So like I said, transparency and empathy in these trying periods of times will get you a loyal consumer base, as well as generally people will like you as a brand.
Right. True. Transparency is must, especially in these times when we are going through a health crisis.
Correct. So I'll give you an example. That struck me. I had switched on the TV and I saw this Lifebuoy ad, and Lifebuoy ran one ad which stuck in my mind only because they said, चाहे तो आप हाथ Lifebuoy से या कोई भी साबुन जो आपके घर में है उससे धोइए, पर जरूर धोइए, safe रहे. It's a good thing to say. You're not selling me Lifebuoy. You're doing something for me, right?
Right.
So empathy, transparency, very important.
Yeah, exactly. Empathy and transparency are two keys to actually getting through consumers right now. Yeah. And Divya, moving on, even by the start of the year, although we are into B2B space, we had different plans for the marketing, right? And it all got scraped once this crisis came around during March, and we overnight had to shift our priorities. We overnight had to change our plans, and we had to get on to the new plans. Right?
Correct.
Anything of this sort might have happened with Alt Balaji, if you would like to mention.
Of course. So, like I said, there are deals and there are partners and there are promises made for the year, and especially with the new financial year starting. Uh, some partners we have to part with because business faces some difficulties. It's as good or bad as any other business. Let me put it first out like that. So we are no exception. Are we doing decently in terms of subscribers? Yes. So, but at no point of time does it mean that I can ignore a larger group situation. So there is a
Right.
larger group situation also that we need to look at, right? So that's part one. Uh, Now your question was about how have we seen a typical shift, right? In terms of this. So I would only say that for us, plans didn't really change that much. The only thing that we changed was how to reach out to the consumer.
Right.
Uh, if there is a show, let's say a Barish season 2, that I need to communicate to a woman of certain age, of a certain mindset, across certain geographies, we're still doing it. The only thing which has shifted is how are we reaching them now? So we may not reach them through hoardings. We may not reach them through beauty parlors. We may not reach them through coffee shops. We may not reach them through Meri Saheli or Greh Lakshmi. But then what are they doing? Are they on beauty apps? Are they on Google learning new, wax at home kind of a thing? Those are the kind of interesting things that we're doing now, that we're tying up with, we're targeting, and we're working with. So those are the kind of shifts that have happened. The goal of communicating, for example, to a woman for a barish has not changed. What has changed is the path that I'm going to walk for that ultimate goal. That is the change that has truly happened for us.
Great. So, the summarizing this into top 3 points, what are some top 3 priorities for you right now?
So the top 3 priorities for me right now would be, of course, to keep my base healthy, alive, and kicking, which is my subscription base. That's, as a business person, that's the biggest priority for me. The second priority for me is, of course, making sure I would, in fact, count. So, sorry, but I would say the first priority for me is actually making sure that my team is healthy, alive, mentally well, working well, because there are certain people who also stay alone at home, right?
Right.
And work from home can get to be a little bit of taxing for people who are at home. When you're with your family, you're still okay. Being alone can be a little taxing. So first priority is making sure your team is fine. Second priority is making sure your business is doing well in terms of your overall subscription numbers, in terms of overall base, in terms of your overall churn rate, in terms of the activities that you're doing. And the last but not the least is ensuring that your library is well received and you're onboarding and making new people aware. And you're also working with the content team, constantly making sure that you have content pipeline to reach out to the various people who are already your subscribers. So I would say these are my, as a business, these are my top 3 priorities right now.
Right. Since you mentioned about team, Divya, I think work from home situation is very different for different organizations, right? Not everything is same. The situation is not same. Some people are getting used to it. Some are still struggling to get used to it. Any best practices which you would like to suggest to the people out there about work from home?
Like I said, it's discipline. You really have to carve out time for housework. You really have to carve out time for office work. I wish there was a mantra for it. There is no mantra. Like I said, right now I'll give you an example. Before this, I was just talking to my daughter, asking her, what do you want for dinner? I need to get on a call. I need to finish that. Can I do this after that? So there is no success mantra for it, right? You have to juggle many things. Discipline. Plan your day just like you used to plan your day in the office. Have a schedule for the day. So you're going to get up in the morning, you're going to do your workouts, you're going to do your jharu pocha, bartan, get the breakfast out of the way, then you're going to get on calls, emails, WhatsApps, then you're going to take a break again because you have to prep for lunch. So Honestly, it's discipline and planning. That's the only thing you need. If you have discipline and planning and just sorted in your mind what is expected out of you for the next, let's say, at least 4 5 hours, you know how to proceed. That's my only advice.
So do you also get ready for work every day?
No, not really. I'll be honest. No, not really. It's only when I have video calls like this one, I end up getting ready. Otherwise, yeah, it's a normal day.
Yeah, you look lovely otherwise also.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. So do you. But yeah, I guess all of us, I hope you guys are coping better. All of us are going through a tough time.
Yeah, all of us are going through a tough time, and that's a must.
Yeah, but I guess the bright side of it is few of us are lucky enough to spend time with the family,
Right.
which we may not have done for years altogether because of the hectic pace of life that we live.
Right.
And of course, the fact that we need to be mentally ready about a lot of new normals when we exit the lockdown.
True, true. So what do you think, for how long this is going to continue?
I really don't know. I keep seeing these messages, various messages which are sent to me. So one of the latest messages that I saw was this might get extended till June. I really don't know, honestly. Uh, it's not good for the economy. I know this much because we've been under lockdown for more than 45 days now. It's getting taxing on the economy, and the thing is that we are 5% taxpayers in this country, right?
Right.
And the industry is going through a tough time. There are quite a few companies doing salary cuts. There are quite a few companies rolling back jobs. The longer this lockdown goes, the harder it's going to be. So it's, I think, and it's not, and I keep saying this to my team also. I say, it's not that COVID is going to magically disappear just because the lockdown is lifting up on May 18th, right? You will still have to be a responsible citizen and practice things on your own to ensure that you are safe. Right. Government can't keep you under lockdown forever to ensure your safety. Right? Japan is a very good example of how they have come together as a country because it was inbuilt in their habit to behave the way we're being asked to behave now.
Right.
So it's possible, provided all of us behave like responsible citizens.
True. We have to. We don't have any option otherwise, I guess. Right. So, Divya, one interesting question which I had in mind, but I completely lost track of it. Productions have been halted, and you already said that you have quite a few shows in your kitty right now, which you can at least release till Diwali, I guess. I read somewhere.
Yeah, we're pretty safe. We've got quite a few shows in the bag.
So, assuming that the productions are hampered for a continued period of time, how are you guys planning to get back on track with the new shows?
Like I said, there are quite a few shows already shot. And we're all working from home to see whatever post-production work can be done from the home. There are enough people, editors, etc., sitting with machines at home working in isolation. Right. We're also hoping that once this lockdown lifts up, they will allow us at least post-prod and edit facilities to resume with a certain amount of social distancing norms, etc. So I don't think there's too much stress on it. Yes, of course, also do remember that there are certain zones across the country where the government has now started allowing shoots. Karnataka, for example, has allowed, right? So we're hoping that across certain amount of green zones and orange zones, when situation gets better, government will allow us to resume shoots as well. So we can start creating furthermore banks. So we're hopeful.
Right. So moving on, Divya, about the customer experience right now, which is paramount, especially in a crisis, which is a health crisis, right? So any shift in customer experience which you might be seeing, or any best practices which you would like to suggest to our viewers?
Say the biggest customer experience in India is actually मेरा app buffer नहीं करना चाहिए. When I'm watching content, the most irritating thing for me is वो buffer करना. It should be seamless. And that I don't even call it customer experience anymore. When I speak to the product team or the tech team, I say, guys, this is basic hygiene, right? That is why people prefer TV, because वो buffer नहीं करता है, right? To put it in a layman's language, best customer experiences, if you get the content that you like on demand, at your own pace, at your own time, seamlessly, without buffering. That is the best consumer experience you can give to a customer. Everything else that you do is frills around it. Everything else. So you will do your content discovery, you will send smart push notifications, you will do great engagement techniques, and you will do, you know, reviews and actor bites and all that. But all that goes for a toss if my app is not seamless and my content is not bufferless.
Right.
You know, so I think for a customer experience, it should be easy for me to navigate the app on a touch of a button. As many less touches you ask me to do on the app, the better it is. At some point of time, AI needs to kick in because I'm your regular customer, and then your app should know what to recommend to me. Eventually, voice search is going to take over, and people will start speaking the name of the show instead of typing it out to find it on the app. We're also working on it. Voice search is one module that we have worked towards, also because of the fact that the new India, which is coming on internet, prefers to speak rather than write.
Right.
So those are the kind of experiences that we will see very soon. We are also working towards immersive experience, which we experimented with in Ragini MMS. And once the lockdown lifts up, we want to explore more with it. Gamification is something that we are again really excited about. We're speaking to a few gaming companies to see what kind of gamification we can create around our shows. Yes, so those are the kind of experiences we're working towards right now.
Wow, amazing. Gamification and the immersive content was the highlight of the talk with Divya, I must say. And I think, yeah, more and more shows are trying to adopt to the immersive content, but it's not happening because of some or the other reason. Moving on, Divya, retention, which we stand for, WebEngage stands for, right? So this question is a must. Retention is the question all around the year, right? For every brand, even if your consumption is high, even if your consumption is low, retention is the one thing which every marketers want to focus on, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So what are some key retention strategies that you are practicing right now?
So we work, as you know, WebEngage has been our partner from the very beginning as an organic retention tool. But more than that, the retention, I wouldn't say my strategies because I'm sure other people will also see this. So I'm not going to open up my strategies. But the first rule for retention is understanding your consumer very well. Understanding what is he interested in? Why did he come to your app in the first place? Once he came to your app, in his life cycle that he stayed with your app, what is it that he's truly done? What are the kind of shows he's shown interest in? What are the kind of shows he's not viewed? How is it that we can mix and match genres? So we've been doing the study at the back end with the analytics team, and I was just having a call with them day before yesterday where they pointed out to me that a woman actually came on board to see, I'm just giving an example of one group set of women. When I say woman, these are a set of women because that's how you in retention you do. You create groups and you target them, right? So there was a set of women who came on board for Broken But Beautiful, but their second show that they actually watched was Triple X, right? So it was an interesting discovery for us as well. And there are many such interesting discoveries we do every day. Now, these women were going to churn out, right? So these are the kind of discoveries that will allow you to take a decision that, okay, if she came on board for Broken But Beautiful, but she saw Triple X as well, that means somewhere she not only wants to see romance, urban romance, but she probably doesn't even mind seeing a little bold shows as well, right? So now to engage with her, to keep her back, what are the kind of potential shows I need to show her? Now, those can be shown through a WebEngage journey. Those can be shown through email, SMS, business WhatsApps. Now, those are the mediums. But the crux and the core is understanding what your customer was doing while he was in the app, how much time was he spending, what are the genre of the content he was seeing, how much has he seen, how much he is not seen in a similar kind of genre, and how do I engage with him? And if you have an offer, how do you make sure that the offer is put across to him? Those are the kind of things that we largely work with. Of course, in all this, we also do our A/B testing, etc., to see whether the offer, deals well, does not deal well, this kind of strategy deals well or not. So those are the kind of things that we constantly work with WebEngage. In fact, uh, we've been talking to WebEngage on many other initiatives that we want to start with for the retention journeys, not for the current consumer, but looking at the past downloads. I mean, as an app today, we have some almost 50 million downloads, right? That's a huge amount of data lying somewhere. How
Right.
is it that we work on sort of reinstating their interest in Old Balaji all over again? And those are the kind of interesting conversations that we are having with WebEngage.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Divya, for mentioning us.
No
And
problem.
yeah, the insight about broken but beautiful and the triple X was,
Triple X, yes.
yeah, yeah, was
Yes, those are
surprising.
interesting surprises that we get from analytics team. And I actually said, are you sure? Are you sure it was triple X? And they actually said, yes, this percentage was watching Broken but Beautiful and watching triple X as the second show.
Like, I'm really surprised, but I'm happy that women are,
And why
yeah,
not? Why not? There's no harm in it. I personally feel there's no harm in exploring your own sensuality or looking at shows, which are bold. Why typecast anybody? And that's why at Alt Balaji, we always believe in doing mindset marketing rather than saying, okay, TG 14 to 35, living in Bombay, SEC ABC. We don't believe in that. We
right.
look at a customer from a mindset and from an interest point of view,
Mhm.
because typically those are the kind of things that will actually help you retain or engage with the customer.
Right. True, true. Absolutely, Divya. Absolutely. So my last question is, Divya, what are some big no-nos? We discuss about the best practices. What are some big no-nos for the marketers out there in these times while engaging with their consumers?
So I'll give you a few examples which I found in a very poor taste. Like I saw this ad of Policy Bazaar, very poor taste. I mean, tough times, and you actually end up saying, "Zindagi ka koi bharosa nahi hai, policy nikalo." I was like, "Whoa, really?" I mean, I understand there could have been a better way to say this, right? There could have been a, a sweeter message to say, something like, take care of your family rather than saying zindagi ka koi bharosa nahi. What are you trying to do? So that was something that I would say that's a no. Please don't do things like that. What Lifebuoy did is a definite yes. Uh, you, as a marketer, at this point of time, be subtle, uh, be nice, be a nice human being for a change. I'm saying be actually nice to people, because people will remember this during this time.
Mhm.
That is what is going to get your brand love
Mhm.
in. And uh, a consumer or an ordinary viewer will always remember how you as a brand behaved in adversity, right?
Right.
So you have to be very, very careful about what you're speaking, what you're portraying. So like
Mhm.
I said, there was a do and a don't I gave you as an example with two brands. Be witty, don't be over witty, don't be over smart,
Mhm.
don't make poor taste memes, because all of a sudden all the brands have jumped onto meme marketing.
Mhm.
And some of the memes that get sent to me, I'm like, whoa, what were they thinking? How did the brand even allow that?
Mhm.
Don't be nauseatingly sweet. People can see through, like I said, non-transparency. People can see through when you're not being honest.
Mhm.
So I would say be subtle, be calm, be honest. You, of course, as a marketer, have a
Mhm.
job which is to sell your product. Uh, Try, innovate, and focus, and see how you can put across your product proposition in a manner which the consumer finds a use for. So one of the uses, for example, that I found was, and I was just watching it that day on TV. There was Shilpa Shetty, I think, Terzo ad, which actually said, "Bacteria ko hataega in times mein." Now that's something. which stuck with me only because of the fact, today I'm working from home, I'm doing my bartan jhadu pocha myself, and I was just discussing with my husband and saying, listen, I don't want the help to come back to the house, even for some time once the lockdown lifts up, because you're so focused about the fact that, there are going to be
Mm.
outside germs and you don't want them inside the house. Now, that kind of subtle marketing works where you're saying, use my product because this will give you a better bacteria or a virus protection. But the
Right.
kind of marketing that Policy Bazaar did, which is, boss, you're going to drop dead, so you might as well take a policy, is not going to work.
Right. True, true, true.
So those are the kind of do's and don'ts, I think, for marketers.
Yeah, subtle, calm, and empathetic. I think
And
that's
innovate and focus. Innovate, focus, because you will need to find newer ways and newer channels to reach out to your consumers and talk to them in a different way. So some
right.
of the brands are doing a great job out there.
Mhm. Thank you, Divya. Thank you so much for your insights. I must say it was lovely speaking to you.
Same here. Thank you so much for calling me and having me here.
Yeah.